Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. Today, we explore why this coin can be surprisingly valuable and why you should look closely at every example you find. The 1970s were a busy period for the United States Mint. Production machines were aging, dies were reused far too long, and the pressure to keep up with the growing circulation demand meant speed sometimes became more important than perfection. This environment created the perfect conditions for minting mistakes. The 1975 D nickel is known for being one of those coins where small imperfections, die failures, striking issues, and mechanical problems created a wide variety of collectible errors. If you love hunting for rare coins, this is a year you simply cannot ignore. Collectors especially love the 1975 D because the Denver Mint had some of the most inconsistent die conditions at that time. Many coins show strong die wear, filled details, and inconsistent strike strength. While these may seem like flaws, they actually create opportunities for rarities. On some coins, Jefferson's portrait appears sharper than usual, with bold hair details and deep cheek contours. On others, the Monticello building looks slightly distorted or softened because of worn dies. These variations matter to collectors who study every line and every surface under magnification. One of the most exciting categories for this year is the die crack and die break errors. Because the Mint reused dies too long, cracks began forming across Jefferson's face, neck, and the coin's rim. Some cracks travel from the rim straight down into Monticello, creating dramatic lightning-like marks that make the coin instantly stand out. A large die break, sometimes called a cud, occurs when a piece of the die breaks away completely, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. These are extremely collectible and can make a normal nickel become a valuable error in seconds. Another impressive error from this year is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not aligned correctly inside the press. The result is a coin with part of the design missing and a portion of the blank surface exposed like a crescent moon. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if both the date and the D Mint mark remain visible. Collectors love these errors because they are dramatic, visually interesting, and rare to find still surviving. The 1975 D nickel is also known for repunched mint mark errors. Before mint marks were added directly to the dies, they were hand-punched. This sometimes resulted in double impressions, sideways shifts, or shadow-like outlines behind the D. When a collector finds a bold repunched mint mark on a 1975 nickel, they know they have something uncommon that can command a strong premium. Another desirable error is the clipped planchet. This occurs when the sheet of metal used to cut blanks overlaps during cutting, resulting in a curved bite missing from the edge of the coin. Clipped planchet nickels are instantly recognizable and always exciting to collectors because they prove the coin was cut incorrectly before even entering the striking chamber. But the greatest rarities of the 1975 D nickel are the high-grade examples. Even though millions were made, very few survived in perfect condition. Most circulated for years, resulting in scratches, dull surfaces, or wear marks on Jefferson's cheek and the steps of Monticello. Because of this, mint state coins with strong luster and clean surfaces are extremely difficult to find. A perfect strike with full steps on the reverse is especially rare. Full step coins from this year are one of the ultimate condition rarities in the Jefferson Nickels series, and collectors are willing to pay premium prices for them. What makes this coin even more interesting is the mystery factor. Many collectors overlook it because it seems too modern to be rare. But that is exactly why you should pay attention. Most people never think to inspect a 1975 D nickel, so rare errors often go unnoticed in pocket change or old jars. When you take the time to look closely, you might be holding a coin that could surprise you. Every mark, every crack, every minting oddity tells a story of how the coin was made, what happened inside the Denver Mint that year, and why this coin survived differently from millions of others. Collectors who understand this coin study every detail. They know the subtle differences between a worn die and a cracked die. They know how to spot doubling on the lettering. They recognized the small curve of a clipped planchet or the dramatic shift of an off-center strike. The 1975 D nickel rewards people who pay attention, who look beyond the surface, and who appreciate the unexpected beauty of minting mistakes. And now, the part everyone waits for. Real market prices and auction results for rare examples of the 1975 D Jefferson nickel include circulated examples worth only 5 cents, mint state coins selling for more than $20, off-center errors selling for more than $100, clipped planchets selling for more than $150, dramatic die breaks and die cracks selling for more than $100, repunched mint mark varieties selling for more than $70, and high-grade full step certified coins reaching more than $200 at auction. Coin number 2. In the world of American coin collecting, very few coins capture the imagination the way the 1943 Jefferson nickel does. At first glance, it looks like a simple 5-cent piece that passed through the hands of workers, soldiers, shopkeepers, and families during one of the most challenging eras in American history. But once you study the coin closely, you begin to understand why collectors feel a special connection to it. This coin is not just currency. It is a wartime artifact, a silver alloy experiment, a minting oddity, and a treasure hunter's dream, all hidden inside a small piece of metal that millions of people held without realizing its future importance. The story of the 1943 nickel begins with one powerful fact: America desperately needed nickel metal for the Second World War. Nickel was used to build airplanes, tanks, engines, and armor plates. Its role in the war effort was so essential that the United States Mint was ordered to remove nickel from the 5-cent coin entirely. Suddenly, the Mint had to redesign the nickel while keeping its weight and basic appearance the same. What emerged was the famous war nickel, made of silver, copper, and manganese. So every 1943 Jefferson nickel you see today contains real silver, even if it doesn't shine like a silver coin at first glance. Collectors love telling the story of how people during the war had no idea their nickels contained precious metal. They treated them like any other coin. But today, this same wartime adjustment has turned the 1943 nickel into one of the most historically rich and collectible pieces of United States coinage. Its silver composition makes it unique in the entire Jefferson series, and it remains one of the few U.S. coins ever produced with a temporary wartime metal blend. One of the most distinctive features of the 1943 nickel is its bold, oversized mint mark. Instead of being placed beside Monticello, the mint mark was moved above the building. This design change was intentional so the government could easily pull war nickels out of circulation after the war if needed. The large P, D, or S mint mark sits boldly above the dome, and this unusual placement has never been repeated in regular Jefferson nickels again. It is a hallmark of wartime coinage and adds a unique visual identity that makes the coin instantly recognizable, but the mint mark is also where collectors often find some of the rarest and most fascinating errors. Because the war forced the mint to work at incredible speed, some mint marks show doubling. Others show repunched impressions where the letter was stamped more than once, leaving shadows or overlapping outlines that collectors treasure. A few examples even show filled mint marks, where grease or debris caused the letter to appear soft, distorted, or partially missing. These varieties can dramatically increase the coin's rarity and desirability. As production continued through 1943, many dies were pushed far beyond their recommended limits. This resulted in die cracks forming across Jefferson's portrait, stretching like lightning from the rim toward his face or hair. On the reverse, some cracks cross Monticello, creating jagged paths that collectors love because these cracks tell the story of a die literally breaking under pressure. Each die crack is unique, almost like a fingerprint, and serious error collectors search for dramatic examples that are bold and eye-catching. Another category that excites collectors is the double die. While many coins require magnification to see doubling, some 1943 double die nickels show noticeable spread on the lettering, the date, or the lines of Monticello. The stronger the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. These are highly sought after by collectors specializing in variety errors, and finding one in high condition can feel like winning a small lottery. Then there are the physical planchet errors. Wartime coin production was messy and fast-paced, and the blank metal strips used to punch out coin planchets were sometimes misaligned. This created one of the most dramatic and visually impressive errors, the clipped planchet. If you see a rounded bite missing from the edge of the coin, you might have a clipped planchet 1943 nickel, and these are always in demand. They combine a silver wartime coin with a dramatic minting mistake, making them doubly collectible. Off-center strikes are another huge favorite among collectors. These errors occur when the coin is struck while positioned incorrectly in the press. The result is a coin with part of the design missing and part of the blank planchet exposed. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially when the date and mint mark remain visible. A deep off-center strike on a 1943 war nickel is something collectors will pay strong premiums for because it stands out in any display case. While errors are a powerful part of the 1943 nickel's charm, condition rarity is equally important. These coins circulated heavily during wartime, and many are worn, scratched, or dull today. Finding a brilliant example with rich silver luster and sharp details is very difficult. Even harder to find are those with full steps on Monticello, one of the most coveted features in the Jefferson series. Full steps indicate a strong strike and perfect die condition, and they transform an ordinary 1943 nickel into a top-tier rarity. High-grade, full-step examples have sold for impressive amounts at auction because so few survived in pristine condition. Collectors also appreciate that every 1943 nickel carries a living connection to American history. It reminds us of a time when every part of the nation, including the mint, worked together for victory. When you hold this coin, you are literally touching a piece of World War II. It may have been used by a soldier buying supplies, a factory worker buying lunch, or a family saving coins to support the war effort. These stories make the 1943 nickel more than a collectible, it becomes an emotional artifact. For modern collectors, the search for rare varieties is what keeps the excitement alive. People dig through old jars, metal detecting finds, rolls from banks, and inherited collections hoping to uncover a rare error or high-grade example. The thrill comes from never knowing when an ordinary-looking wartime nickel might reveal something extraordinary. That mystery is what keeps collectors watching videos like this from start to finish, hoping to learn something new and discover whether their coin might be one of the valuable ones. And now the part every collector waits for. Real market prices and auction results for rare examples of the 1943 Jefferson nickel have included circulated silver war nickels selling for more than $1 due to metal value alone, common mint state examples selling for more than $20, dramatic repunched mint mark varieties selling for more than $100, clipped planchet and off-center strikes reaching more than $150, bold double die varieties bringing more than $200, and high-grade certified full-step specimens reaching well over $1,000 at major auctions. Coin number 3. The story of the 1974 Jefferson nickel begins in a time when America was going through dramatic changes, but the nickel itself remained one of the most stable and trusted pieces of everyday currency. Millions of people touched this 5-cent coin without imagining that decades later collectors all over the world would be hunting for specific versions of it. Because while the majority of these coins were ordinary, a very small number of them were struck with exceptional quality, unusual details, or mysterious minting errors that instantly transformed them from common pocket change into hidden treasures. When you hold a 1974 Jefferson nickel in your hand, you are not just holding a coin. You are holding a piece of American routine, the kind of coin used in vending machines, payphones, gas stations, grocery stores, and every part of daily life in the 70s. Imagine how many of these nickels passed through busy hands, how many were tossed into jars, how many were forgotten in drawers, and how many were lost before collectors ever had a chance to rescue them. And imagine the thrill of realizing that the one you found might be one of the rare survivors in excellent condition. Collectors love this coin because it hides its value. Unlike silver coins or special commemoratives, the 1974 nickel does not shout rarity. It whispers it. Only those who look closely, who understand strike quality, who know how to identify subtle errors and imperfections, can recognize the true gems among the millions. And that is what makes this coin exciting for coin lovers. The treasure hunt is real, and every single coin has a chance of being that special one. One of the biggest reasons this coin becomes rare is condition. Most nickels from this period circulated heavily. The metal is soft enough that details wear away quickly. Jefferson's cheek, jawline, and hair can flatten. Monticello's steps can fade until they look like melted lines. Finding a 1974 nickel with sharp, clean details after 50 years is already an achievement. But finding one with the highly desired full steps is even rarer. Full steps examples require perfect strikes, fresh dies, and almost no handling after minting. These coins shine under magnification and impress any collector who sees them, but condition is only part of the story. Mint errors give this coin its personality. Errors are the accidental signatures of the minting process, and they are what attract collectors who crave uniqueness. Some 1974 nickels show dramatic off-center strikes where the design lands partly off the planchet, creating a bold visual that instantly raises value. Others have die cracks running across the fields like lightning marks, turning an ordinary nickel into a miniature piece of artwork. There are also examples with clipped planchets where the metal blank was cut incorrectly, leaving a curved bite taken out of the edge. Another exciting variety includes struck-through errors, where a piece of cloth, thread, or debris got between the die and the planchet during striking. These rare mistakes create unusual textures or missing design areas that make the coin stand out. Each error tells its own story, and collectors never forget the moment they discover one. That moment of realization, when you find something no one else has seen, is what keeps collectors searching day after day. The 1974 Jefferson nickel also sits in an era of changing mint technology. Dies wore down faster, some machines were misaligned, and quality control was not as strict as today. This mixture led to inconsistent strikes, making sharply detailed examples increasingly rare. For collectors, this challenge creates excitement. You never know what you will find until you examine the coin under a bright light. And the coins that survive decades without scratches, spots, corrosion, or damage are becoming rarer every year. The story gets even more interesting when you imagine where these coins have been. A nickel minted 50 years ago has traveled through time, through pockets, through states, through families. A coin might have been used to buy candy in the 70s, kept in a piggy bank in the 80s, dropped under a car seat in the 90s, placed in a coin jar in the 2000s, and forgotten until today. Every mark on the surface carries a memory, and every untouched surface holds the possibility of rarity. Collectors today search coin rolls, estate sales, auctions, and old change jars hoping to find a clean, sharp, and valuable example. They look for strong luster, clean surfaces, full details on Monticello, and unusual minting mistakes. They know that the right combination of condition and error can elevate this simple 5-cent coin into something truly worth celebrating. And now we arrive at the question every viewer waits for. What is the real market value of the rarest and highest quality 1974 Jefferson nickels? What have collectors actually paid? The true market value for exceptional pieces can reach more than $200 in words. At auction, the highest graded and most dramatic error examples have sold for more than $500 in words. Coin number 4. The 1976 D. Jefferson nickel may look like an ordinary 5-cent coin at first glance, but hidden inside this simple copper nickel piece is a story that collectors love to explore. It was struck in the year of America's bicentennial celebration, a time when the entire nation was filled with patriotic energy. Even though the nickel design did not change for the bicentennial like the quarter, half dollar, and dollar did, the coins produced that year hold a unique place in history. Millions were struck, but only a small number survive today with exceptional quality, sharp details, beautiful luster, and rare minting mistakes that transform them into valuable collector treasures. When you pick up a 1976 D nickel, you're holding a coin that has traveled through decades of American life. Imagine all the hands that used it: gas stations in the 70s, movie theaters in the 80s, school cafeterias in the 90s. Now, years later, this small coin becomes the focus of collectors who understand that hidden value doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers quietly through its condition, strike, and unique errors that slipped past the mint. The Denver Mint produced a huge number of nickels in that year, but mass production often leads to quality issues. Dies strike coins thousands of times until their details grow weak, uneven, or distorted. That is why finding a 1976 D nickel with crisp, sharp details, especially on Jefferson's portrait and the steps of Monticello, is much harder than new collectors might think. Most coins from this year are worn, scratched, or dull. But those rare surviving examples with strong luster and minimal marks are prized by collectors, and they become even more valuable if they display a special feature known as full steps. Full steps is one of the most respected and difficult designations for Jefferson Nickels. It requires that every step on Monticello be fully visible, straight, detailed, and uninterrupted. Only a tiny percentage of coins struck that year ever achieved such precision. And because nickels often went straight into circulation, finding a 1976 D full steps nickel today is like finding a needle in a mountain of metal. This extreme scarcity is what drives collectors to pay high premiums for the right coin, but rarity isn't just about condition. Some of the most remarkable and desirable examples come from mint errors, accidental mistakes created during the striking process that turn a normal coin into a one-of-a-kind piece. These errors make the 1976 D nickel far more interesting, and collectors chase them because each one tells a different story. One of the most dramatic errors seen on this coin is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet and dies are not aligned properly, causing the design to land partly off the coin. Some off-center nickels show only a slight shift, while others are so extreme that part of the design disappears completely, creating a bold and striking visual effect. These pieces become instantly valuable because they are unusual, eye-catching, and extremely rare to find today. Another sought-after error is the die crack, where the minting die develops a fracture and leaves raised lines on the coin. These cracks can be small or dramatic, and collectors love them because each one is unique. Some die cracks run across Jefferson's face like a lightning bolt, while others stretch across Monticello, giving the coin a distinct and fascinating personality. There are also struck-through errors, where foreign material, dust, cloth, or even metal shavings accidentally gets between the die and planchet. This creates weird textures, missing design areas, or unusual impressions that turn a basic nickel into something truly special. These coins look like mint-made mysteries, and collectors enjoy studying every unusual detail. Clipped planchets are another favorite. During the cutting process, a piece of metal may be punched incorrectly, leaving a smooth crescent-shaped bite missing from the edge of the coin. These errors are visually dramatic and instantly recognizable, making them highly collectible. And then there is the fascinating issue of overpolished dies. When the mint polishes dies too aggressively, parts of the design disappear, especially on Monticello. This results in ghost-like coins with floating or incomplete details, strange, artistic, and highly desirable to collectors who appreciate unusual minting characteristics. But what truly excites coin lovers is the adventure of the search. Because the 1976 D nickel is not rare in general circulation, every coin in a jar, every bankroll, and every old drawer offers the possibility of discovering a rare gem. Collectors know that most coins will be ordinary, but that only makes the rare ones more thrilling to find. The joy comes from the moment the coin catches the light and reveals sharper details than expected, or shows a strange line, a missing piece, a shifted design, something that makes the collector's heart beat a little faster. The beauty of the Jefferson series is that treasure can still be found by anyone. You don't need thousands of dollars to begin, you just need patience, a magnifying glass, and the excitement of the hunt. And because many people overlook the value of nickels, the chances of discovering something special remain surprisingly strong. Now let's talk about the part everyone waits for, the real-world market prices. These numbers are based on actual collector sales and auction history. The rarest high-grade examples of the 1976 D Jefferson nickel can sell for more than $200 in words. Exceptional error varieties, especially dramatic off-center strikes and full steps examples, have reached more than $500 in words at auction. Coin number 5. The 1979 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that millions of people handled without ever imagining that decades later collectors would search for it with such passion. At first glance it may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece, the kind you might find in a jar of old change or tucked inside a forgotten wallet. But beneath that ordinary appearance lies a world of hidden details, minting secrets, rare striking varieties, and unique errors that turn a simple nickel into a potentially valuable treasure for coin lovers everywhere. The 1979 nickel belongs to an era when the United States Mint was producing massive quantities of coins to meet national demand. As the economy expanded and cash was used more than ever, the mint had to work fast. Machines ran constantly, dies wore down quickly, and millions of planchets flowed through the system. And whenever production speeds increase, the chances of rare mint errors becoming collectible treasures also increase. That is what makes this year so exciting for collectors. Even though the design of the Jefferson nickel had remained unchanged for decades, the minting conditions in the late 70s created a perfect environment for valuable surprises. When you hold a 1979 5-cent coin, you are holding a piece of American history from a time of change. Gas station lines, rising technology, and shifting culture shaped the nation, but the humble nickel remained a constant part of everyday life. Kids used it for arcade games, adults used it for parking meters, and it passed through countless hands, pockets, and cash registers. That is why finding one today in pristine condition is extremely difficult. Most were circulated heavily, scratched, worn down, or darkened from years of handling. Collectors know that condition is everything. Sharp details on Jefferson's cheek, crisp lines in his hair, smooth unbroken surfaces, and clean edges are signs of a rare, high-quality example. But the real holy grail of the Jefferson series is the full steps designation on the reverse side. This refers to the steps of Monticello, which require perfect striking pressure and a fresh die to show clean separation. Only a tiny number of 1979 nickels show these full steps clearly. These coins become instant collector favorites, and their value skyrockets because they are so difficult to find, but condition alone is not what makes this coin interesting. What collectors truly love about the 1979 nickel are the mint errors, the fascinating mistakes that happened behind the scenes at the mint and slipped into circulation before anyone noticed. These errors turn a normal coin into a piece of unique art created by accident, and each one tells a story. One of the most popular errors collectors seek is the off-center strike. This is when the coin is not perfectly aligned under the die during striking. Some examples are only slightly shifted, giving the design a ghost-like outline. Others are dramatically off-center, with a portion of Jefferson's face cut off or the date sliding toward the rim. The more extreme the shift, the more valuable the coin becomes. Off-center nickels from 1979 with clear dates are especially prized. Another important type of error is the die crack, where the die used to strike the coin develops stress fractures. These cracks appear on the coin as raised lines that can run across Jefferson's portrait, stretch from rim to rim, or spread across Monticello like lightning. Collectors love these because no two are exactly alike. Some die cracks form shapes that resemble letters, maps, or dramatic lightning strikes, making them even more interesting and desirable. There are also double die varieties, although extremely rare, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during the hubbing process. Doubling can appear in the date, lettering, or elements of Monticello. Even minor doubling makes the coin significantly more valuable, because collectors know these varieties are scarce and eye-catching. Struck-through errors are another fascinating category. These occur when foreign material, such as cloth fibers, grease, metal shavings, or dust, gets between the die and the blank during striking. The result is a coin with missing details or unusual textures that make it look like it has secret messages hidden in the design. These coins have unpredictable and unique appearances, which always attract collectors who appreciate oddities. Clipped planchets add another layer of excitement. These are coins missing a curved slice along the edge because the metal strip was miscut before striking. The curved bite creates a dramatic visual effect and is a favorite among error collectors. The 1979 nickel has several known examples of straight clips and curved clips, both valuable and sought after. But beyond all these specific errors, what makes the 1979 Jefferson nickel truly captivating is the adventure that comes with hunting for it. Many collectors today are searching through coin rolls, estate collections, and old jars filled with decades of saved change. They know that even though the majority of 1979 nickels are common, the rare gems still hide in unexpected places. The excitement comes from the possibility that any ordinary-looking coin could actually be something special. Collectors love the thrill of discovery, the moment when a coin catches the light and reveals something unusual, a sharpness of detail far above the norm, an error nobody expected, or a surprising level of preservation after decades of circulation. That emotional spark is what keeps the Jefferson Nickels series alive and loved by enthusiasts around the world. And now, the moment every viewer waits for, the part that brings clarity to the hunt, the real-world value of these coins. The highest quality 1979 Jefferson Nickels with exceptional luster and strong details can sell for more than $100 in words. Rare full steps examples and bold mint errors have sold at auction for more than $300 in words.